What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Harry Scarfe here, your host, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Dan from Talk Forest TV. Firstly, Dan, how you doing?
Very, very well, mate. I mean, it was nice to see 90 minutes again on Saturday against Chesterfield. But it's just been a crazy few days prior to that, and I know that we're going to dive into all that as well. So, well, yeah, I'm well.
Good to hear. Talk to people a little bit about what you do. Obviously, introduce you there in terms of the content you do for Talk Forest TV, and just talk to us a little, people a little bit about it.
So basically, I covered quite a lot on Forest. We do like new shows. We do like match previews, reviews. We do live shows as well. We do a lot of shorts. But we cover like a wide range. Like we talk about the first team, the B team, the under 18s, and the women's team. So we're quite open on the channel. I mean, it sort of dragged this last couple of weeks, but now football's back. We're starting to get back into a bit more of a routine with like doing match previews and reviews, and just trying to get fans onto the channel and giving their view on it.
Excellent. I think you produce some good content and totally agree with you. Can't wait for the Premier League season to be back. It's an honour to be speaking to you today. So thank you very much for your time. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. If you listen afterwards on the podcast platform, please do drop us a follow and a 5-star review. Before we get into the Gibbs-White stuff, Dan, I want to ask you firstly about Anthony Elanga, who's joined Newcastle for a reported fee of £55 million. What are your thoughts on losing Elanga? Is it sad to lose him?
Yeah, it's a massive loss, Ilanga, because I think that second half last season, he was probably our most informed player. Like, it was getting loads of goals. It was assisting as well. And we started to see that this real Anthony Ilanga, like, blossoming. I mean, he played literally as a winger, but he was playing more of a false nine, number 10 role. And it was just reaping from that regular game time. So it's going to be a massive loss without shadow of that. Losing Orlando. I mean, fair play on him. He got a big move now, and he gone up north, and he going to get Champions League football. So it will be a massive, massive loss for us. So I'm quite sad about it, but you know what? He's earned his big move to a big club now. Um, so I hope that everything goes well for him.
Dan, in terms of last season, like kind of your best player last season or your most influential, should I say, where does Alanga kind of rank amongst them? Is he quite high in terms of, was he the best out there, the most, he had the biggest impact?
Oh, without shadow, I think second half of the season, he probably, when you look at, especially when you look at our front four, I mean, I know you got Ilanga, Gibbs-White. I know we're going to touch upon Gibbs-White anyway, but when you got Ilanga, Gibbs-White, Wood, Ultra that front four, you look at that and think, it was all about Ilanga's pace. I mean, we got well known for that counter attacking last season, and Ilanga's pace, I mean, it would frighten anyone that literally when you're defending against him. And towards the end of the season, I'd probably say it was probably it was his pace that probably put us up there, especially with like Gibbs White and he Woods, because obviously Gibbs White for his creativity and Chris Wood for his remarkable goal scoring spree last season. So it's definitely up there in terms of like influential. I mean, I'll probably stick him in top three, especially with the other two. I mean, when you got Austin Dory as well and Elliot Anderson. I mean, I'll probably say he's in that top five in terms of like influential. I mean, in form, I'll probably say top two.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear. Thank you very much, Dan. Would you say that you in Nottingham Forest or Newcastle get a better deal out of this if you believe, it's a £55 million deal, so the club's never disclosed the fee? Because Newcastle fans seem to think they've got a really good deal.
I'll be honest, I know they said it was 55 million plus bonuses. That what it's been quoted around in the media. So I think I've always said it like if we got 6 million for him, I think that be quite a fair deal, to be fair. So I think 55 plus bonuses. I think Newcastle probably did get the better deal personally, but I think if the bonuses just tally up to 6 million, I think it'd be a good price, especially for Orlando, to say that we only bought him for 15 million when we did sign him. So I think overall it's a pretty good deal because we're going to make around 30 million, potentially 40 million for him. So I think it's a fair deal, to be fair, to see how much we bought him couple of years ago.
That's a really good point, actually. I forget how much you pay very little for him. So, what, 30, 40 million profit on him? That is good business for Forest. I also suppose, Dan, I know it's maybe only 6 million, but I think it's quite a lot. It depends where that bonus is kind of like how it's achieved, I suppose. If it's like Newcastle getting Europe, that's very achievable. However, if it's Newcastle getting top 3, top 4, or winning a trophy, it then becomes a little bit harder. So, it'd be interesting how those bonuses were agreed. Do you have any idea what they could be or what you reckon it is?
I'll probably done what you just said then, like with the whole if they get into Europe, if they win a trophy, appearances, probably goals in the city. I mean, it's unknown to what it is, but I think, like you touched up on, like it potentially could be them sort of deals that they probably put in, and I hope that Forest got a selling clause for him as well, because I think if he goes out there and for Newcastle and have a better season that he has had, it could be like it's just going to add on to the value what it's already at.
So Alanga joins Newcastle is the story there. Be interesting to see how he gets on. Tell you what, Dan, I'll ask you about how do you fit? You know, do you think he fits into this Newcastle team? Does he become a regular starter straight away and assumingly on that left hand side, or like you said about Forest, do you see him as like kind of 10, maybe floating in that midfield?
I'll be honest with you, I've seen a tweet yesterday that a Newcastle fan put on with the squad depth, and they had him on the right, especially with him and Jacob Murphy, and I can't see that happening, to be fair. They're probably gonna have like their obviously Gordon, Ilanda, Arsenal up top. Then obviously you got their 3 centre midfielders. So but the good thing with Ilanda, like I said, he can play in that that floater in that number 10 role. He can play in right, left. He has played as a false 9 for us as well. So it's one of them ones where I think wherever he does play, that Newcastle got a pretty excited player wherever he plays across that front four.
I have to say, I wish them, of course, all the best at Newcastle, but we'll turn the focus to the main talking point of Morgan Gibbs-White. Dan, can I ask you about the situation so far? For people who don't know, you kind of like Spurs look like they were activating a release clause of 60 million for Gibbs-White, but the deal looks like it's been put on pause and off for now after Forest are considering launching a legal complaint to the Premier League about kind of tapping up the player, it seems to be, from reports, and how Spurs knew about that release clause. Obviously, slightly different reports from different sources, but that's what we can generally gather from this. So what are your thoughts so far? How do you feel as a Forest fan, seeing what's going on?
From a obviously Forest point of view, I mean, when it first came around, I was pretty shocked, to be fair, even though fair enough, whatever has happened with it. But when I first heard, I was pretty shocked. Like, oh wow, I thought guess what we're going to say. I thought Man City was gonna finish that with it, and I thought, oh right, okay. But when it happened, I thought, hold on, like what's going on there? Like, so if I would have been Man City, I would like, why did you pay 60 million for a proven Premier League player in Gibbs-White? So it was a lot of things that I was more shocked than out. But when things started to come out, it was like late first night Friday that apparently it was a legal approach. I was like, right, okay. I had my sneaky suspicion something didn't sit right for me, but I couldn't pinpoint it where it was. And when it said legal, I thought, right, okay. And when it all started to come about, And I somehow learned about this one this morning, which I got talking, but I don't know how true it is or not. But apparently, he signed a document say that they couldn't talk about this release clause and or this how true it is. I don't know myself. Cannot do my research. I just got verbally told it just not long before I came on doing this with you. But it's made me feel like it's either the agent done it just to try and make a quick buck, or Gibbs-White is, as he said, turn a bit because Man City wanted him and he wants to leave. I mean, we hadn't really been told out about if he wants to leave or not. I know Forrest becoming really good in keeping things close to the chest, but I mean, we were just saying off air before we came on. Forrest put a tweet of him coming in, and he seems quite happy to be back to the fair, which Finib. So I mean, I don't know what's going on, but from like you said, and from what I touched up on, I think it's something's gone wrong, and being pointing it if it's the agent, is it this right, is it Spurs legally, we don't know, and obviously now it's all going through the legal side. We'll probably, unless if it comes to right at the end, it's going to be one of them ones where I think it's either he's going to go. Potentially, I'm expecting him to go now. I think now digest it all. I'm expecting him to go, but it just how it all escalated and how it Forest going to the Premier League complaining. I mean, something must have gone wrong somewhere. Me personally, I think it's the agent.
Could be, you never know. So am I right in thinking that for now, like it's off and like he's gone back to Forest? You say there he was pictured in training. Is that like today, yesterday he's been seen in training? That's quite a big thing.
Today, Forrest put the tweet on around, it was 10:02, just before we went started doing this recording, and he was just walking into the up the steps towards the training centre. So he is back in pre-season training, because I was quite upset about it. I was wanting him in the reserves to be fair, and not having nowhere near the first team if it was all about him. But I mean, we don't know what's gone off with it.
That is interesting. We'll have to see what happens. But it looks like he's going back to Forest. He was seen by some Spurs fans as well in the Nottingham area. So obviously we don't know. We can only go off what we hear and kind of reports. But do you believe that Spurs have done something wrong? Maybe tapped up the player?
I'll be honest here, and I'm not saying it just because I'm on the Spurs fan channel. Personally, I was thinking about Friday. I thought Spurs did something wrong here, and that was just my first instinct when I read the report and this and that. I'm not gonna lie, but when I sat back, took a back seat on it, I'm just trying to like look at it from many angles like I normally do. I think it's the agent personally. I think the agent gone to Spurs and said this deal here, this how you activate it, and the Spurs thought, yeah, 6 million for a proven Premier League player. Then they're gone to Forest and activated it. So personally, I think it's probably 70-30 to the agent more than Spurs personally. But obviously, we're just going off like the reports and all that. So I think if I personally think Spurs should have gone to Forest and say we got told this and this, instead of just activating it. So personally, it's one of them ones where I think Spurs, in a way, yeah, they did something wrong, but they wouldn't have known about it unless they got told it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Spurs are likely gone to Gibbs-White's kind of representatives, his agent, rather than going through Nottingham Forest first? Do you reckon that's what it is? And they found out his release clause, and that's why they've been spot on the release clause.
Yeah. In a nutshell, That's what I do think what has gone off. But I don't think it's all Spurs' fault. I think they have some degree of the blame, but I don't think it's all Spurs. I think it's more the representation of the Gibbs-White for doing it. And yeah, fair enough. Spurs probably should have gone to Forest to start with instead of going to Gibbs-White. But I mean, the agent shouldn't have really told Spurs anyway, because apparently there's some document. So
Interesting.
I'm very in the middle of it, because I think there's some accountability to both of them, but I think when I look at it a bit more, I think, yeah, it's a tough one to talk. Well, tough one to like get head around it.
Have to see what happens. Of course, it's all a lot of unknown and kind of, just weird at the moment because we don't really know what is going on and if it's going to go through or not. But what have you made of the way Forest have handled it? And another key word that I'm going to use is reportedly, because again, we don't know. But what have you made of the whole situation? Looks like now they're this morning launching their legal complaint to the Premier League.
I'll be honest here, and I was saying it this morning actually when I went swimming this morning. It doesn't surprise me. Forest doing that. I think it's Marinakis. He's well known for it in Greece with Olympiacos. So it doesn't surprise me that they've gone to the Premier League, and it's just nice to see that they're not gonna bend over and just let this sort of thing happen. Like they are gonna stand up to it and be like, yeah, it shouldn't be happening, and whatever happened reportedly. I mean, we don't know ourselves, but I think fair play on Forest for doing it, but it doesn't surprise me. I think 10 years ago, Forest would have just rolled over and just let it happen, but under Marinakis, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he does seem that type of owner. He's very persistent when he gets his mind to something, and is picky, let's say, over the finer details. But yeah, the report coming out from Tom Barkley, so via the Sun Football, he's a senior football writer for the Sun Football. He said that Nottingham Forest have now made their official legal complaint over Tottenham's move for Gibbs-White to the Premier League. And also Tom Barkley via Sun Football, exactly what you were saying, Dan, has said he's reported Morgan Gibbs-White for pre-season training with Nottingham Forest seen just before 9 a.m. In fact, he was early to the training ground. So there we go. That's the latest on that. Can I ask you about... Yeah, sorry, Dan.
No, I gotta say, which makes me think if we got there earlier, I think it's more the agent that done that. I mean, Gibbs-White could have gone AWOL and tried to force the move, but he hasn't. He turned up to training, bless him, and if early, so it makes me think it's more the agent that done it.
Can I ask you if you think agents are a problem at the moment in football? Because I'm just linking it to a Spurs player that we've got, Radu Dragosin. His agents constantly talking him up, bigging him up, and then that puts pressure on him to perform. I think it's adding unnecessary pressure on the player and causing just uncomfortable situations. You've got like Radu Dragosin's agent sitting there going, basically, he's too good for Tottenham. He's ready for the move. He wants this in the future, and it's not healthy, is it? So do you think agents are a problem at the moment in this era of football?
Yeah. I do genuinely think that. I mean, I know a certain Brian Clough said it as well back in the 70s, 80s, when saying that there should be no agents in football. It should be strictly down to the player. There was always that famous story about Peter Shilton when he joined Forest, and all his agents walked in, and Brian Clough was tripping them up when they were walking in. So, and Cloughy said it back then. So, yeah, I do think agents are becoming more and more influential in the players. I mean, they're just thinking about the back pockets, to be fair. And I just think they should just let the player choose where they want to go. If they want to stay at the football club, let them stay at the football club. If they're
It's all
happy,
about the
they
money, isn't
settle.
it? About the
Yeah,
money for the agent.
it's all about the lining their back pockets with money and thinking about the next best deal for themselves, not thinking about the whole things of the club and the players.
Totally agree with you on that one. I want to turn the attention to your owner. I mean, you said his name earlier. I'm not even going to try to attempt to say it. But what are your thoughts on him, the job he's done as Forest owner so far, and what have you make of previous incidents that he's had? Obviously, he's had incidents with officials. There's one, I think he waited for him in the tunnel. There's one moment where he consoled Nuno. I think it was over Wanyi, who was really hurting in a bad way, unfortunately, at the end of the game. That didn't look good from a kind of outside point of view. So what do you make of the way he handles it? I mean, he's very keen to get on the pitch and get involved, but do you think sometimes too much?
I mean, it's nice to see in a good way. I mean, we always knew about it when he first came in because how he was at Olympiacos, but we never really seen it to this since we got promoted. I mean, he's always said to the Forest fans that we will get into the Premier League. We will splash the cash, and he's very ambitious and he very wants to win, and he will do anything to get there. I mean, when he first started to do it, took money, it didn't work out. But then looking up, Stevie Cooper got us promoted and everything, and with the squad, and even then he took money at it to just make sure we stay up. And it's true to his words, which I appreciate for what he has done. But I think that this last 2 seasons he started to really show that sort of side that we all expected. I mean, there was that incident last season with Liverpool where he kicked off. Obviously, the tweet that got put out after the Everton game. It's we're becoming a bit more outspoken now as a Premier League club, and it's letting everyone know that we are here. And I think especially this season, for him to wait for the officials, I think it just goes shows passion for the club and passion as a football owner. That fair enough. It can go a bit over extreme, that said that. Obviously, there's so much going on, with rules and how you got to act, and if you don't act, you're going to get suspended. I mean, he had that 5-game stadium ban last season as well, so. And even the whole Nuno thing, when it all kicked off after the Leicester game with the tower, I mean, when it happened, I thought, oh no, what's gone off here? But to be fair to him, I said after the game, I was talking to a friend, and I said, if he don't put a statement out, and he could have gone straight back to Greece, jumped on a plane, gone back, but he didn't. He actually came out and spoken about it and said, look, I'm what's upset about Tower, I'm this and that, and you know what? It's good because he's showing that he cares about the club and he cares about the players. I mean, he's well known for this and that in Olympiacos, but he has got that really good passion for the club, and even with the whole Gary Neville situation for the last game. I mean, fair play on him for sticking to the guns with him because Gary Neville's been quite hard on for us and been quite opinionated, but Malnakis is stuck to his guns to be if you're going to treat our club with disrespect, you're not coming in. So I think it's just that passion he has for the club, and you know what? I got that much time and respect for him because, I mean, when he took over, we were literally one goal off from going to League One, and now we finished 7th, and we're going to go into European football. So, the work he's done has been brilliant, and we are seeing that sort of what he wanted to bring to the club, and that passion and that want to win, and the World Club is just aligned with his goals.
From an outside point of view, I totally agree with you. I think he's done an excellent job at the club, and the passion's clearly there, and that kind of I'm going to do anything to win. But would you say he's crossed the line on more than one occasion? We saw that Nuno incident. I think there's a little bit of context behind that. Don't get me wrong, but would you say he's crossed the line in a couple of instances? With the officials that you talked about getting banned. Do you think that passion sometimes has gone too far, and maybe that doesn't reflect well, I suppose, on Forest?
Yeah, I do think that, and I mean, you will know, and everyone that will listen to this will know. When it comes to sports and when it comes to that, your passion and emotion will take over. Didn't they shadow that? I mean, we all can be like that on a side of the pitch. So yeah, it does. I think it does go above a certain level where that. But I think that just does show the love and the passion he has for the club, and he wants us to win. And um, so yeah, I completely agree with you. It does go above that sort of level where he needs to probably breathe, but then it's that passion and that emotion that he has for the club to want to win.
Fair enough. Can I ask you before we do move on to even more about Gibbs-White? What do you make of the statement the club put out? And pardon me, I can't remember the game, but I know it was last season that you played someone who had a lot of officiating decisions against you. You might be able to help me here. And Forest put out a club statement, things are not happy about. We're very, very opinionated about VAR and kind of former, like just kind of mistakes from the referee, and they wanted action. And it was quite quickly after full time. What did you make of that statement? Because nothing's ever been seen to that extent and that scale before, where that type of language is used. Some people say it's childish, some people said it needed to be said. Obviously it's called out. You talk about Gary Neville, it's called out by the likes of Gary Neville and Sky Sports at the time.
I think it's that same. I think yeah, fair enough. We've never seen that gone that bad. I mean, probably back in the 70s, 80s when like Cluffy were in charge, you've seen it quite a lot then. But nowadays it's a lot more changed, especially with the social media and how club act. But I think yeah, I remember it was the Everton game when we lost 2-0. We had like 3 potential penalties not been given, and um, a lot of other things that went off. And I think it's just been built up throughout that month because we had quite a lot of really bad decisions. So personally, I think it's. I think that person that did that got sacked. Personally, I think they probably did their own internal investigation. They probably sacked him, but because we're not, you don't see it nowadays. But it's like that with that tweet. It's probably like that with like Malnatis with how he wants to win, like that passion, that emotion. So I think um, it makes me think unless if Malnatis authorised it, then realise what happened. But we had quite a lot happen that day as well. So Nuno got charged, and Nico Williams got charged for being outspoken as well. So, but I mean, it's just really fair play on them for speaking about it. But I mean, it just get nowadays you can't really have a say your opinion without getting in trouble. So I think it's crazy. But fair play on Forest because they're making they're putting through herd, and we all know. I mean, you've probably seen it in games as well. The referees, they're not up to a really good standard nowadays, personally, and I think it's just built up, and with frustration to a point that Forest just exploded.
Hmm. No, that's fair enough. That's very good to hear from you on that, Dan. I want to move now to interview with your club captain, Forest Club captain, Ryan Yates, defensive midfielder. I've seen quotes and I've listened to little clips, and actually I did watch some of the interview with Ryan Yates. I think it was a day or two ago it was recorded. From listening to it, I was given the impression that the squad are expecting Morgan Gibbs-White to leave. It just felt like he suggested anyway. It just felt like a matter of time. What did you make of the interview firstly? It was quite eye-opening.
It is, and you know what? That's Ryan Yates for me all over. Like he's an honest man, and he for him to say that, it's just to show what he is all about. He's quite an honest man, and I mean, I didn't realise he did that interview. Obviously, I went to the game on Saturday, so I didn't see any of the like post match stuff. And if when he told me this about it prior to us doing this, I was like, I gonna read up on it, and but that it doesn't surprise me about it, and that he's probably expecting it to happen, just because he thinks of like how well this what has done for Forest, and that. But like Ilando, if he asked him about Ilando, he'd probably say the exact same thing. Like he probably deserved this move, and even it did, like he has said, there's nothing the players can do to a fair, and that, like he has said, he's probably will be expecting the club to invest in bringing the players in, which Forest being Forest, they probably will reinvest all that money if it does go. I mean, the landing money, they always they seem to be a lot more movement going off with Forest looking at players, but the Gibbs-White one, if it happens now, Forest will go in and strengthen using that Gibbs-White money anyway.
I was just going to ask you, so if you sell Gibbs-White as well, let's say you make 115 million with two players combined, assuming Gibbs-White goes for his release clause, it does feel like it's only a matter of time, even though it's been delayed for now. Where would you spend that money? Would you spend it on replacing these two players? Because they've been huge for you, arguably your two best players for a good couple of seasons now. So where do you spend that money? Is it on one really good individual? Is it on two or three? What would you do?
Getting to a three, and because I think I've always said it prior to last week with Orlando and this, right? I've always said because we let Raymond Sosa go as well last week, so we near enough our two players leave. That right, the Gibbs White saga. If that legal side of things wouldn't happen and he gone, we already lost three attacking minded players. So me personally, I think we need to be strengthening. We need at least two wingers, one to replace Orlando, one as much to replace Sosa, even though he didn't feature as much. I do think we need to strengthen with another winger, and we do need at least probably another number 10 because fair enough, Elliot Anderson can play there, but he's been used as number 8. We still will need another, probably say another really top notch number 10. But I know I've been reading quite a lot. That Forest might change to a 4-3-3. So, but even then, we still need to invest at least in a number 10, number 8, number 10 anyway. So 2 or 3 will do. But the attacking side needs priority. But I've also said that we need a couple of fullbacks because we all got 2 first-team fullbacks in. Well, at the minute we have got 3, but I can't see Omar Richards staying. So I think that money can be reinvested in other areas as well as the 2 that we're losing with Orlando and Gibbs-White.
Sounds like Forest have got a lot to get done and be getting on with in the transfer window. They could do with the Gibbs-White saga along with Spurs getting done as soon as possible. Moving us back nicely to Gibbs-White. Do you think he'll end up a Spurs player? We've spoken about kind of reportedly what's going to happen. It seems that way, but can you see any world that Forest managed to keep hold of him?
I'll be honest, now I had the weekend to digest and talking to you about it and all that. I'm expecting him to move on personally. I mean, if he don't, still got that glimmer of hope that he stays and that he sees some sense in it, or and be like, he does stay, and he's gonna be like, yeah, I won't be Spurs' main man. I play second fiddle to Finney and be on the bench. So I sort of, there's that sense of hope that he sees that, yeah, I won't be the main man there. So I'm going to stay at Forest and actually play European football with in whatever Europa League or Conference League. We still don't know about that yet, let alone what's happening with Gibbs-White. So, but I sort of hope that Gibbs-White sort of realises that it's not going to be like he won't have the free reign or the sort of king of the midfield arts, but like he does there. So, but if he does go to Spurs, I think you are going to get a really quality player without shadow of that. But I'm sort of like 80% expecting him to go. But if he does stay, I think it will be a massive. It will feel like a new signing, and I just hope that the Premier League and everyone else learns off what has happened with the whole situation.
Do you think it'd be a massive step up for him at Spurs? Would that be fair to say? It's a step up from Forest?
I think in terms of expectation and the size of the club, the stadium, the training, it will be a big step up in terms of like the expectation from Forest to Spurs, because obviously you guys are expected to be competing for trophies and top four and being Champions League. So yeah, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think in terms of ambition or that, I don't think we're too far behind now in terms of like how far we have came. But I do like. I mean, I do think it is a step up in terms of from Forest to Spurs at the minute.
I appreciate your honesty with that, but you're certainly, I think, working hard to close that gap. And I think you're back, which is great to see you as well in the Premier League, and secure financially, and in terms of position in the table. I want to ask you about Ashley Youngham's comments yesterday on Sky Sports News. He said that Nottingham Forest have the release clause. You might want nobody to know, but the player knows, the agent knows. If you don't want him to leave, don't put it in there. What do you make of those comments by former footballer Ashley Young?
You know what? It's right. It's what he's saying. Don't get me wrong. It is right. I, Me personally, I think when Forest signed him, I don't think the person that did that with the club, because we have got our own recruitment team. I mean, what Premier League club don't have a recruitment team nowadays? So I think whatever numpty put that thingy in, obviously they must have put it in just to try and get that deal done without realising the role. I mean, it'd be good if you had a crystal ball and you could look into the future, but
When it just.
yeah, but I think it's right with what he's saying. But I think it's one of them ones. I think that would have came from more the agent more than Forrest or Gibbs-White personally.
Fair enough. Got an update from Football London who report Morgan Gibbs-White was not sidelined from Nottingham Forest weekend friendly due to transfer speculation in linking him to Tottenham. Instead, his absence was pre-planned as he's set to return next week. Obviously, we've seen him in training since following his involvement with international duties. And the Athletic UK report that Nottingham Forest are not naive to how transfers materialise, but given Tottenham offered the exact amount required to trigger Morgan Gibbs-White's release clause, which is meant to be £60 million, they're questioning how confidential contractual details were breached. Nottingham Forest do not want to be seen to allow their most influential player to leave easily. Would you say it's a PR stunt by Forest, Dan, or is there more to it?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I think Forest being Forest about it. They're putting their foot down, but I think they are. It's they are using it to their advantage with the PR stunt. Personally, I think they obviously they know what's happening. They know that the whole world going to be looking at this, and they're using it to the beneficial of what they want him to do, and that's basically saying that we don't want to lose him on the cheap, and that they're trying to let everyone know that what is happening, especially with agents and with all the legal side things, that it should be happening, and that the FA need to pull the socks up and sort it out before agents ruin football. So I think Forest has just been Forest with it, and they're making a statement and letting everyone know.
Again, Dan, I appreciate your honesty about that. It's really hard. Sometimes hard to go, okay, let's take the bias hat off. It's very hard to do, and you've always been able to do that. So I appreciate that. If Morgan Gibbs-White does sign for Spurs, where do you see him fitting into the team? Obviously, we've got quite a lot of, for example, attacking midfielders: Maddison, Kulusevski, Bergvall, some to name a few. Kudus can even play there. So what would kind of be his best position in this Spurs team, like an 8 or a 10? And can you see him starting on a weekly basis?
Me personally, I think he is number 10, but he can play as number 8. He has played there for Forest quite a few times. He did it against Brentford away, did it against Man City at home. He has played in that number 8, but I think his best position is number 10. And like you said, I would want to touch on up on that. You have got quite a lot of players in that number 10 role that can play there, like Scarfe, like Madison, and everyone else. So I think, me personally, it depends how Thomas Frank will set you up personally. Because I think if he goes with that three in midfield, and if he has like 6, 8, and a 10, I think I can't see you guys playing Madison and Gibbs-White together, because I think they both will want to be the main man, personally. I think Kulisevsky, I think you could play him with Gibbs-White, but it was just how Thomas Frank sets you up, because if he wants, he will want to play one without the other, especially with Gibbs-White Madison. But I mean, it depending. I don't think he will be starting every week for you guys, unless if Thomas Frank comes in and be like, yeah, he was to spend 6 million on him. He's going to be first name on the team sheet. But when I look at it from that, if I don't put a bit of a bias spin on it, I don't think he will be. But if I'm looking at it from like your guys' point of view, I think if it's going to be a choice between Madison and Gibbs-White for that number 10, and I think Thomas Frank might rotate each other, so you might play Madison one week, Gibbs-White another week, then sort of like trying to find that bit of a balance between the other attacking players that you do have.
I suppose the competition's healthy, but we've certainly got
Yeah.
a lot in that position. I'd personally argue, as much as I'd love to sign Gibbs-White, should the money be spent on a defensive midfielder, should be spent on fullback cover, I think is a genuine question that I'd put to the recruitment team. But I would absolutely not turn down the opportunity to sign Gibbs-White. So we'll have to see what happens in the next few days. But Dan, before we wrap up, can I ask you about a couple of things? Firstly, your thoughts on Crystal Palace being officially demoted from the UEFA Europa League to the UEFA Conference League, subject to UEFA ruling about owning, 2 clubs?
Me personally, I just think what Steve Parrish said about it all, I mean, with that email, I mean, they sort of shot themselves in the foot, because obviously, if anyone's seen the Kieran Maguire tweet that I put out yesterday, he got hold of that email that been sent to all the Premier League clubs, and like I can they say that it's from an unauthorized email, because how does the Premier League get in touch with them anyway? Yeah, fair enough through phone calls, but if anything electronically, like they're just shooting themselves in the foot making excuses. So I think, yeah, fair enough. They wouldn't have known Crystal Palace were going to go and win the FA Cup. I give them that, because obviously, put in context, if you are competing in the European leagues, you got to get it into a blind trust or sell by, I think it February 28th, isn't it, or March? It's end of February, end of March. So I do think, yeah, I give Palace my due on, they wouldn't have known that they would have gone and beat Man City in the final and get into Europa League. But I think the whole John Textor thing, I think, yeah, fair enough. If you don't have influence, they don't. But walls to walls, really. Like, I mean, we got done for PSR, and we knew about the PSR ruling. So I think if it happens, I will feel sorry for Palace. I mean, because of they worked so hard to get to into Europa League, but it's going to get took away because of a really bad rule by UEFA. And I mean, I don't have my own personal thoughts on UEFA anyway, because I think it's too political now. And I think that it's more political than it is in Parliament Street. So I think that warning on you, I think it's daft, because it should be merited on football, not ownership, personally. But I mean, if it walls to walls, you got to stick to them. I mean, we got done in for it, so if we get done for PSR ruling by the FA, why can't Palace get done by UEFA?
Fair enough. Do you think it's a silly rule though that you can't own two clubs?
I think it is a stupid rule because owners should be able to spend their money on whatever they want. Personally, I think they should be able to spend 100 million at Leon. They should be able to spend 200 million at Crystal Palace. Not saying that he will do. That's just rough estimates, but I'm using it. But I think the owners should be able to spend whatever they want on whatever club, whatever players they want. They shouldn't have to go around petty rules like the multi-club ownership just because you either don't want one club having an advantage.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. On the positive side for your club, Nottingham Forest, they, as things stand, I don't think it would change, have been, I suppose, promoted or, propelled up to the Europa League. You were meant to be in the Conference League, but you basically done a switch with Crystal Palace. So how do you feel about being in the Europa League next year at the expense of Crystal Palace? Does it feel good?
Yeah, I mean, putting my post on that, I think it is. I think it is nice, even though that where we were being inferred to going to the Conference League, it was quite disappointing end to the season. But I was happy we was in the Conference League anyway, like European football and that. But for us to go into Europa League because of a petty rule like that, I feel sorry for Palace fans. Don't get me wrong, because I think they should be there on footballing merits. But as a Forest fan, I'm happy that we are there.
No, fair enough. I absolutely don't blame you. And of course, wish you all the best in Europe. Last couple of questions before we finish. What do you think Forest's kind of feeling towards other fan bases are? Because, for example, Palace and Spurs fans at the moment will not be happy with Forest. How do you think that Forest feel about other clubs?
I think it depending really. I know obviously next season with the Wolves Spurs Palace thing, like you said, they're going to be a bit of a hostile bit of like angle towards us because of the obvious reasons like we touched up on. But I think it depending who it is because I think there's quite a bit of a like the big six divide and how we feel towards them because obviously they think that they should be in the top six every time and I mean so that's my personal vendetta on that side. But I think the rest of the Premier League fan bases, I mean, we like to have a good banter with them anyway. I mean, they always come down here, they always give as good as we give them, if I'm being honest here. But I think, especially next season, when you got like everything what has gone off, I think there will be that bit more hostile atmosphere towards us.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. At least you acknowledge that. I just thought I'd ask because in line, kind of with recent events. And I suppose another flip question I've got for you, and it is the final one, I promise. How do you think Forest and your owner are perceived by other fans at the moment? Are you becoming like a little bit of, I don't know, hated among the Premier League? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I probably got that from when we put that tweet out against Everton. We're becoming quite a not the most liked team in the Premier League just because of our owner and everything. But I mean, every country got a team that they don't like.
Yeah.
Right side that. There used to be loads in the Premier League over the years, but we are probably becoming that sort of disliked team in the Premier League now. Which I mean, if I was the opposite fan, if I was in your shoes and being a Spurs fan, I'd be like, I'd probably be hating Forest because of what they're doing with Gibbs-White and the other circumstances that has happened this last two seasons. But being a Forest fan, you got to love our club for what they're doing at the minute because I mean they're literally just anything that comes our way. Man, that is just batting it back to them like with a grenade.
But yeah, fair enough. At least he fights for your club, I suppose. A lot better than maybe taking money out like the Glazers do, or being overseas and not interested in the club. But Dan, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Where can people find you on social media? You talked, a little bit at the start about what you do, but talk to people about where they can find you and also your YouTube channel and page.
So I'm on four the main socials, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I do a lot on the socials. I do TikTok lives as well as YouTube lives. The TikTok lives are a lot more general chit chat about football in general. I mean, I have a lot of banter with Derby fans and Notts fans and a lot of other fans. TikTok live is a bit more of a general football chat. That's TFTV Media. The Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's Talk Forest TV. Actually, Instagram is tftv.media, but the rest is Talk Forest TV. YouTube, it's Talk Forest TV. We do daily content. We do we do like quite a lot of shorts. We do 3 videos. Well, we do 1 live, 2 videos. We do daily videos, and we do a lot on the socials, doing whatever news that get broken. We put the reels from the shows on as well, so it's quite an active pace. But yeah, if you want to find me, it's Talk Forest TV.
Excellent stuff. Keep up the work. I can vouch for you. Transfer window is a very busy time. It's a very difficult time. A lot going on, and sometimes you'll be recording something about a news story, and something will come out. Like you recording the news that Kudus is about to sign, then he does sign, or something conflicts. So it's constantly rolling, constantly moving. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to do that in an hour's time," because stories evolve. So appreciate your commitment to your club, Nottingham Forest. So guys, make sure you do follow Dan. As always, you can follow me at Harry Scarfe 22 across all socials, football content creator, YouTuber, and advocate for autism. But make sure, as I said there, you're checking Jan out and you're liking and subscribing to the channel. If you are new, if you're listening after on the podcast platform, also big up to you. Please do follow. And, whatever, drop us a 5-star review, get involved. Very interested to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching once again. Obviously, a little bit different from a podcast. It's a bit of an interview, and also will be, as I said, they're released on podcast platforms for you, providing lots of content during this transfer window period. So all the best. Dan, good luck to Forest. All the best, and I'll speak to you soon.
You